When someone spends $95,000 on an SUV, are they really getting 3 times the vehicle compared to someone who spent $32,000? Or are they paying for marginal gains dressed up as massive upgrades? On paper, all 3 SUVs we're comparing today do the same basic job. They carry 5 passengers. They have modern safety systems. They offer touchscreen infotainment. They promise efficiency, comfort, and practicality. None of them are stripped-down penalty boxes. Even the cheap SUV in 2026 comes standard with adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, automatic emergency braking, and a respectable interior. So where exactly does the extra $60,000 go? That's what this episode is about. We're not going to approach this emotionally. We're not going to defend luxury brands just because they're aspirational. And we're not going to dismiss expensive SUVs as overpriced ego purchases either. Instead, we're going to break this down methodically. We'll compare safety technology and ask whether the expensive SUV is genuinely safer or just more feature-packed. We'll look at engine and drivetrain differences, not just horsepower numbers, but how those differences affect daily driving. We'll examine interior materials in detail, what actually changes when the price doubles or triples. We'll talk about ride quality and suspension design, especially whether air suspension and adaptive dampers meaningfully transform comfort. And finally, we'll analyze long-term ownership costs, because the real gap often shows up 5 years down the line, not on day one. Most people assume the jump from a budget SUV to a mid-tier SUV is significant. Fewer people question the jump from mid-tier to full luxury, but that's where the price curve gets steep. The key question is simple. At what point does the value start flattening while the price keeps climbing? Chapter 1. The 3 contenders. To make this comparison fair, we're using realistic 2026 examples that represent each price tier properly. Not stripped-out base models designed to hit a marketing number, and not ultra-loaded unicorn trims. These are SUVs people actually buy. Budget tier $30,000 to $35,000. 2026 Toyota RAV4 LE Hybrid. The RAV4 Hybrid represents the rational choice in this segment. It's one of the highest volume SUVs in the country, and it's popular for good reason. At roughly $32,000, you get a proven hybrid powertrain that delivers excellent fuel economy, strong resale value, and a reputation for long-term reliability. The LE trim isn't flashy, but it includes the essentials: adaptive cruise control, lane tracing assist, LED headlights, an 8-inch infotainment screen, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and Toyota's full safety suite. Inside materials are functional rather than luxurious. You'll find cloth seating, hard-touch plastics in many areas, and straightforward design. But nothing feels poorly assembled. It's built to last rather than impress. This SUV establishes our baseline. It's practical, efficient, and dependable. For many families, it already does 90% of what they need. The question is, what does spending another $20,000 really add? Mid-tier $50,000 to $60,000. 2026 Hyundai Santa Fe Calligraphy. At around $55,000, the Hyundai Santa Fe Calligraphy enters premium adjacent territory. This is where manufacturers try to offer most of the luxury experience without the luxury badge. Immediately, you notice the upgrades. The engine is more powerful. Typically a turbocharged unit with significantly stronger torque delivery. All-wheel drive is often standard. The cabin design becomes more ambitious with quilted leather seating, a panoramic sunroof, larger dual digital displays, ventilated front seats, a premium audio system, and a surround view camera. Soft touch materials replace many of the hard plastics found in the budget tier. Ambient lighting appears. The overall presentation feels intentional rather than purely practical. This is the tier where buyers say, I want something nicer but still want to justify the purchase rationally. It promises comfort, features, and refinement without stepping into six-figure pricing. But is this the sweet spot? Or does the expensive SUV still offer something transformative? Expensive tier, $90,000 plus. 2026 BMW X5 xDrive 50e. Now we step into the luxury benchmark category. At roughly $90,000 to $95,000, the BMW X5 xDrive 50i represents what modern premium SUVs aim to deliver: performance, technology, and refinement layered together. Under the hood, you're looking at a turbocharged inline-six paired with a plug-in hybrid system, producing close to 500 horsepower. Acceleration drops below 5 seconds to 60 miles per hour, something unimaginable in a family SUV a decade ago. Inside, the difference becomes more tactile. Real wood or aluminum trim replaces synthetic accents. Multi-contour seats offer heating, ventilation, and massage functions. Acoustic laminated glass reduces outside noise. The suspension may include adaptive air systems that continuously adjust for comfort and control. Technology becomes more sophisticated as well, with advanced semi-autonomous driving assistance, augmented reality navigation displays, and larger curved digital interfaces. But again, the central question remains: do these upgrades change your daily life dramatically or incrementally? Because if the improvement is incremental, then the price increase demands scrutiny. And that's exactly what we're going to do next. Chapter 2: Exterior Design and Build Quality Gap. Let's start with what most buyers notice first: how the SUV looks and feels from the outside. At the budget level, think something like a RAV4 LE hybrid. Design is functional. You'll typically get standard LED headlights now, but they're basic reflector-style units. The grille materials are simpler, often textured black plastic rather than layered finishes. Wheel designs are modest, usually 17 or 18-inch alloys with practical tire sidewalls aimed at comfort and efficiency. Paint quality is good, but not indulgent. You're usually looking at single-stage metallic finishes rather than deep, multi-layer premium coatings. And while panel gaps are consistent, you won't find obsessive detailing around trim edges or flush surfaces. Sound insulation is also lighter. Thinner door glass, less underbody insulation, more road noise at highway speeds. Nothing unacceptable, just noticeable if you've driven something more expensive. Move up to the mid-tier and the refinement becomes more intentional. Full LED lighting becomes standard and brighter. Wheel sizes increase to 19 or even 20 inches, which visually changes the stance. The body contouring is more sculpted, with sharper lines and more attention paid to how light hits the panels. You'll start to see gloss black or chrome trim integrated more carefully. Paint finishes often look richer, sometimes with added depth or pearlescent layers. There's usually more effort put into visual harmony. It doesn't just look assembled, it looks designed. Sound insulation improves too. Thicker side glass, better door seals, more insulation in the firewall. Highway cruising becomes quieter, which subtly changes how the vehicle feels. Now step into the expensive tier, something like a BMW X5. Here, the differences become more technical. Adaptive matrix, LED headlights adjust beam patterns in real time. Some models even offer laser-enhanced lighting. Air suspension subtly lowers the vehicle at speed and raises it for entry, giving the SUV a dynamic stance that changes depending on use. Door handles may sit flush with the body. Brake hardware becomes larger and more visually premium. Paint options expand into multi-layer metallics that genuinely look deeper and more reflective in sunlight. Panel alignment tends to be tighter. Materials feel denser. Even the weight of the door when you close it feels more substantial. But here's the key question: does it look 3 times better? Or does it look 20 to 30% better while costing 3 times more? For many buyers, the jump from cheap to mid-tier is visually noticeable. The jump from mid-tier to expensive is more subtle. It's refinement rather than transformation. Chapter 3: Engine and Drivetrain Comparison. Now we get to what really separates these SUVs. In the budget tier, you're typically looking at a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4-cylinder or a base hybrid setup. Power delivery is smooth but modest. 0 to 60 happens in roughly 8 to 9 seconds. Front-wheel drive is standard, with AWD optional. The transmission is often a CVT or CVT-style hybrid system, efficient, reliable, but not particularly engaging. Towing capacity is limited. This SUV is built for commuting and grocery runs, not performance. Step up to the mid-tier and things change. Turbocharged 4-cylinders or mild hybrid inline-sixes become common. Torque increases dramatically, making highway merging feel easier. An 8-speed automatic replaces the CVT. All-wheel drive becomes standard in many trims. Acceleration drops into the 6 to 7 second range. Towing capacity improves. Stability at speed improves. The vehicle feels more confident, not just quicker. Then we reach the expensive tier. Now you're dealing with turbocharged inline sixes, plug-in hybrid systems, or even twin-turbo V6 engines. Horsepower can approach 500. 0 to 60 falls under 5 seconds. Transmissions are high-performance 8 or 9-speed units designed for both speed and smoothness. Advanced AWD systems include torque vectoring, air suspension, and adaptive dampers constantly adjust ride quality and body control. But here's the honest analysis. Is going from 8 seconds to 5 seconds meaningful in daily driving? For most people, not really. Does advanced AWD justify a $40,000 premium? Only if you consistently drive in extreme weather or value high-performance dynamics. The biggest difference mechanically isn't speed, it's complexity. The expensive SUV introduces more systems, more sensors, more cooling components, more software, which can mean higher repair costs long-term. Performance increases dramatically. Practical usability, not as dramatically. Chapter 4. Interior material and comfort gap. This is where the gap feels most obvious. In the budget SUV, interiors are durable but basic. Hard-touch plastics dominate lower door panels and dashboards. Seats are cloth. Adjustments are manual or minimally powered. The infotainment screen is smaller, usually 8 inches, and the sound system is adequate but unremarkable. Safety tech is strong, but comfort features are minimal. Move into the mid-tier and the cabin transforms. Soft touch materials replace many hard surfaces. Synthetic leather or real leather seats appear. Heated seats become standard. Digital displays grow larger. A panoramic sunroof opens the space visually. Premium audio becomes available, it feels elevated, and this change genuinely affects daily life. Now the expensive SUV. Real wood trim or brushed aluminum accents replace imitation materials. Multi-contour seats offer ventilation and massage functions. Ambient lighting can be customized in dozens of colors. Fully digital cockpits stretch across curved glass panels. Heads-up displays project navigation onto the windshield. Acoustic laminated glass reduces wind noise significantly. 20-speaker sound systems create immersive audio experiences. Here's the critical breakdown. Heated seats change your daily experience. Better sound insulation changes your daily experience. Massage seats, luxury, ambient lighting, aesthetic, AR navigation. Impressive, but rarely transformative. Some features genuinely improve comfort. Others exist to signal prestige. And some, particularly complex infotainment systems, may age poorly as technology advances. Chapter 5. Technology and Driver Assistance Gap. Budget SUVs now include adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and blind spot monitoring. These systems are competent and effective. Mid-tier SUVs add semi-autonomous highway assist, 360-degree cameras, parking assist, and larger touchscreens. These features are used regularly and add convenience. Expensive SUVs introduce Level 2 plus automation, self-parking systems, lane change assist, night vision, augmented reality navigation, and extensive sensor arrays. But ask yourself honestly, how often will you use night vision? How often will you rely on self-parking? Advanced tech can be impressive, but daily reliance varies dramatically. The biggest safety gains happen between cheap and mid-tier. Between mid and expensive, improvements are incremental, and that's where the value debate becomes serious. Chapter 6. Ride quality and driving experience. This is where the price gap stops being theoretical and starts becoming physical. You feel it through the seat, the steering wheel, and even the cabin air. At the cheap SUV level, ride quality is tuned for durability and cost efficiency. The suspension is firm, sometimes borderline stiff, especially over broken pavement. Small bumps are transmitted directly into the cabin, and expansion joints on highways are noticeable. Road noise is also more present. Tire roar seeps in at speed. Wind noise becomes audible past 70 miles per hour. Vibrations from coarse asphalt are felt through the steering column. None of this makes the vehicle uncomfortable, but it does make long drives more tiring. Body control is competent, but basic. During aggressive cornering or sudden lane changes, the SUV leans more than you'd like. Braking feels adequate, but pedal feedback is softer and less confidence-inspiring. Move up to the mid-tier and the difference is immediate. The cabin becomes noticeably quieter. Additional sound-deadening materials reduce tire and wind noise. Suspension tuning strikes a better balance between comfort and control, smoothing out uneven roads without becoming floaty. Body roll is better managed. The steering feels more planted. Engine response improves, especially with turbocharged powertrains, making highway merging and overtaking feel effortless rather than calculated. This is the level where the SUV stops feeling like a tool and starts feeling like a refined vehicle. Long trips become less fatiguing. Daily driving becomes easier and calmer. Then you step into the expensive SUV, and ride quality enters a different category entirely. Air suspension is the single biggest contributor here. Instead of fixed spring rates, the system constantly adapts to road conditions. Potholes are absorbed rather than felt. Speed bumps feel muted. Rough pavement is filtered before it reaches the cabin. Active anti-roll systems counteract body lean during cornering, keeping the vehicle flat even at speed. High-speed stability improves dramatically. The SUV feels planted and unshakable at highway velocities. Noise, vibration, and harshness drop to near-luxury sedan levels. Acoustic laminated glass blocks wind noise. Engine sound is distant, even under load. Road vibrations are almost completely isolated. Braking feel improves too. Larger brake hardware offers stronger bite and more linear pedal response, giving the driver greater confidence. The key takeaway? Air suspension doesn't make the SUV sporty. It makes it calm. And calm is what you feel every single day. Chapter 7. Long-term ownership costs. Now let's talk about the part nobody puts in the brochure. Cheap SUVs are the least expensive to insure. Maintenance intervals are straightforward. Brake jobs are affordable. Tires are smaller, 17S or 18S, and replacements don't hurt the wallet. Ownership is predictable. Costs are manageable, repairs are simpler. Mid-tier SUVs see moderate increases. Insurance rises slightly due to higher replacement value. Maintenance costs climb but remain reasonable. Tires on 19 or 20-inch wheels are more expensive but still manageable. This tier often offers the best balance between refinement and long-term affordability. Expensive SUVs, however, change the equation. Insurance premiums jump significantly. Brake replacements are costly due to larger, performance-oriented components. Tire replacements on 21 or 22-inch wheels can be shockingly expensive. And then there's air suspension. When it works, it's incredible. When it fails, it's not cheap. Out-of-warranty air suspension repairs can cost thousands. Advanced driver assistance systems increase repair complexity. Electronics age faster than engines. Resale value helps. Luxury SUVs often retain strong residuals due to brand prestige. But depreciation is still real. So the key question remains, is the expensive SUV cheaper long-term because of resale? Sometimes, but rarely enough to fully offset ownership costs. Chapter 8. Brand and psychological value. This part matters more than people admit. Brand badges carry weight. They influence how others perceive you, clients, colleagues, neighbors. Dealership experiences are often more refined. Warranty coverage may be longer or more comprehensive. There's also emotional satisfaction, pride of ownership, the feeling of driving something special. How much of the price gap is status? Roughly 20 to 30%, and that's not irrational, it's human. Chapter 9. The real verdict. Is the gap worth it? For the practical buyer, the cheap SUV makes about 90% sense. Reliable, efficient, and affordable. For the comfort-focused family, the mid-tier SUV hits the sweet spot. Meaningful upgrades without runaway costs. For the luxury-focused or income-insulated buyer, the expensive SUV is justified. Not by logic alone, but by experience and emotion. Is the jump from cheap to mid worth it? Almost always. Is the jump from mid to expensive worth it? Only if the emotional value matches the financial stretch.